Hello, Oracles. Well, what can we expect from the market this week, the week of January 27th, 2025? It's a very big week this week. We've got lots of big earnings that are coming out. We've got the FOMC meeting that is happening. It is the end of the first month of 2025. Lots of things that can happen this week. Last week, we got a lot of executive orders coming out from Donald Trump. We saw a lot of different things that could affect lots of different areas of the economy and the entire nation itself. And when it came to the market itself, we saw him come out with some executive orders for AI, which was Stargate, and we saw the market move significantly in one way after that. It jumped up nicely, and then it came down afterwards a little bit after that as well. And then we saw that the government is also going to be putting a freeze on hiring right now, and everyone has to come back to the office. Now, we've talked about this before when it comes to companies that are out there. When they do this, this is typically the first step before they start doing some layoffs. So I don't know if we're going to get to that point, but it's kind of one of those come back to the office and we'll see what's going to happen from here. We already know going into this that with Elon and Doge, that they're looking to come out there and kind of cut a lot of the expenses from the government as it is. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of positions that are going to be eliminated. Now, they did discuss this previously, saying that they were going to be transitioning these people into other jobs that are out there more in the private sector. We'll see if that actually plays out. But as of right now, we've got the hiring freeze and we've got people having to go back to the office when it comes to the government jobs. So we'll see how that plays out when it comes to future unemployment numbers. Now, this week coming up, we have no idea what Donald Trump is going to be putting out for executive orders, but that could just be another variable in the wild week that we're going to be having. So, of course, this week we have the FOMC meeting that starts on Tuesday and it ends on Wednesday. On Wednesday, Jerome Powell will come out and let us know if the Fed is going to be doing any rate cuts. As of right now, we are not expecting any. The market is not pricing in any rate cuts until March, and that's only a 25% chance. What we're looking for Jerome Powell this meeting is going to just be an indication as to what we could potentially see for the rest of the year, or maybe when that next rate cut is going to be. Now, he was probably also going to be coming out and saying, well, we don't know because we don't know what's going to be happening with the new administration coming in. So they may just want to wait and kind of go back to where we were previously a couple of years ago, which is just going data point to data point and waiting month to month to see what's going to be happening before they end up making a decision. So now this month, we did get very good inflation numbers that were coming in, kind of saw those numbers moving back in the direction we want to see them. Unemployment hasn't moved in any bad directions, but we want to make sure, especially with what's going on in all these companies, we had CNN laying off 9% of their workers. We want to make sure that none of that is going to be negatively affecting the employment numbers. Now, you have to remember, we heard about a lot of layoffs back in the October-November timeframe, but they were talking about future layoffs. Like American Express was laying off a certain number of people by the end of the year. So we're now getting to that point where we're seeing these people getting laid off, and these companies are kind of going through what they told us they were going to do. So just because they told us they were going to do it before doesn't mean it's going to reflect in the numbers. We have to wait for them to actually do this. Now they're starting to actually do this. So we still want to pay attention to those unemployment numbers. And I'm sure this is something the Fed is going to be reiterating as well when they come out this week and speak. And now into the fun stuff, earnings. We are getting deep into the earnings season now. We are getting to the big tech this week. We had Netflix last week. They had great numbers that came out. They also went up on their prices, and they're getting to that point where, Warren Buffett talked about Coca-Cola, where they said they put out so many cans of Coke that they could just go up 1 penny and it increases their bottom line by billions of dollars. Now Netflix is kind of getting to that point where they have enough pricing power. They can go up on their prices. And because they have all those users that are out there, it will go up. Now, obviously, it's going to be different than when you're selling Coke by the billions, because some people are going to be like, well, there's other streaming services. I'll just go and pay for those. But the thing that Netflix did point out was the fact that they had a lot of people that were still paying on the same level for the ad version versus the ad-free version, which means that they're also going to be generating a lot of ad revenue coming in as well. So that's boding very well for Netflix. The market really enjoyed that. So now we're kind of moving forward into more tech this week. We've got some fintech with SoFi. We've got Tesla. Of course, that's the big one. I'm going to be putting out a video kind of going into all of the questions from the Say questionnaire that we could be hearing on the call as well. I'll go over those questions tomorrow. And then I will be doing a live stream this week. The live stream this week is going to be on Wednesday because that's where Tesla's earnings are going to be. So I won't be doing a live stream during the earnings. I won't be home in time for that, but I'll do a recap afterwards. I'll jump on as a live stream, probably around that 6 to 6:30 time frame, maybe catch the tail end end of that earnings call, and then we can discuss everything from there. So just keep a lookout for the link on that when I post it. And we've also got Meta and Microsoft. We've got UPS, MasterCard, Cat, but I'll go through that entire list right now, day by day, so you guys know what earnings you can expect to see this week. And I'm really just going over the big ones. There's obviously a lot of smaller ones that are out there as well, but there's a lot for me in my portfolio this week, and I'm sure there's a lot for you as well. All right, so starting on Monday, the 27th, before open, we have SoFi. That's a big one for me. SoFi has been pushing up significantly since the end of the election. They pushed over $18 this week, hitting 52-week highs. So I love SoFi long term, and I want to make sure that they are still growing the way they are. I think if they do well at this earnings, we could push over $20. SoFi for me is going to be one of those long-term growth plays. It's one of the 4 stocks that I own that do not pay a dividend, but I do believe that they're going to be the new age of banking going forward. And I think their market cap could be pushing tens of billions, if not $100 billion within the next decade or two. So for me, I want to have them as a growth play in my portfolio, and I have no doubt in the future they will pay dividends. AT&T is also coming out. Now, AT&T is one of those companies that a lot of people do pay as dividends, but I'm not a fan of them anymore. Extremely high debt when it comes to these companies, so I kind of stay away from them. Boeing's a big one that's going to be coming out this week as well, and that comes out Tuesday before open. We've got GM coming out Tuesday before open as well. And of course, looking at GM, well, how are they doing with EVs? Obviously, that's going to be something we could talk about on the Tesla earnings call, but they're not doing anything. They've kind of slid back to go to ICE. And I think that's going to be the nail in the coffin for them personally. I think they're going to end up going the way of Honda and Nissan, and they're going to end up having to merge with another company or buy out somebody like a Lucid. We already have VW that's partnering up with Rivian. Who is GM going to have to partner up with in order to survive? Because I don't think they're going to be able to do it on their own. Now, after close on Tuesday, we've got Starbucks. That's a big one for me. I do have them in my portfolio, and they are potentially on the chopping block for me. Reason being is because I have myself SCHD. And I don't know if I want to have Starbucks in my portfolio with SCHD. Starbucks has kind of hit a flat point. There's a lot of other competition that's coming out. They have not been doing well in China, but China itself has not been doing well. So I think they could turn around, but if they're not going to be outperforming some of the other plays in my portfolio, what's the point in me holding them? So I'm going to take a look at their earnings and see if I want to hold them or not. On Wednesday before open, we are going to be having ASML. And that, of course, is a big one when it comes to what's going on in the AI movement. We've got T-Mobile. That's one that I really wish I had gotten into. I missed out on that one, but that's okay. There's plenty of other good stocks that I own. P is another big one that's going to be coming out on Wednesday before open. And then, of course, Wednesday after close, we've got the huge ones. We've got Tesla. Again, like I said, we'll be doing a live stream for that afterwards. We've got Microsoft. We've got Meta. A lot of people in the dividend community have waste management as a play in their portfolios. So a huge earnings after close on Wednesday. Thursday before open, we have MasterCard. That is one of the ones that I own as well as UPS. Now, UPS does give us an indication as how the economy is doing. And if you can see UPS doing well, then you can say, all right, the economy is healthy because people are shipping more products. And you also want to see, are they paying the premiums for these products, for these shipping? Is it rush? Hey, we can afford to go ahead and pay to get this rush because the competition is strong. So we need to make sure that we beat the competition. So we need to see what's going on with the UPS. My company is one of those companies out there that's still pretty old school, and we just stopped shipping our paperwork through UPS. So I'm sure there's other companies out there that are lagging with the times that are also going to be doing something similar. Going into uncertain times when it comes to the economy, you want to make sure that you're cutting any expenses that you don't need to have. So I'm sure there's companies that are doing that. So some people are going to more of a digital version, which is what we do. We just scan and email them over to our main office. But that doesn't mean that UPS is ever going to go away. There's still packages that need to get sent physically that you can't do through an email. So we have to see what's going on with the UPS because they could give us a good indication as to what's going on with the economy. Cat is another one. Now, I did sell out a Cat earlier last year because going into this year, they had a lot of inventory that they needed to clean out of. I think it's very similar to what we're seeing with the automotive industry. And when it comes to Cat as well, with higher interest rates, that means it's going to be even more expensive for people to buy the equipment that they sell. So it could be another tough year for Cat. I think Cat's going to be perfectly fine long term. I don't see any issues with them. Could be a great year to add more to Cat. I just chose to put my money in other positions instead of Cat. Altria is another big one that a lot of other dividend investors have. I just stay away from it. It's not a market that I want to be in. And then after close on Thursday, other big ones, we've got Apple, huge one. I just sold out of my position earlier this month. Again, out of the Mag 7, they were the ones who were going the slowest. So for me, I think I made some profits on them. I'm good. I don't need to have them anymore. I'll keep the other ones. But Visa, on the other hand, they're huge. I love having Visa in my portfolio, massive dividend growth company. So I love having them. So we'll see them on Thursday after close. And Intel's making some huge turnarounds. especially with the potential buyouts going on. So we'll see what's going on with Intel on Thursday. And then to close out the week, there's not usually a lot on Friday, but this Friday is going to have some pretty big ones. ExxonMobil, I did sell out of them earlier this month. Now, I do think the oil plays are going to turn around. Chevron is probably a better play to get into than ExxonMobil personally, but I've got Occidental, and honestly, I've got Hess Midstream as another energy play. I don't really want to get into that. And again, I've got SCHD, which also has some ExxonMobil in it. I've got VU. I've got other plays that have some of the oil plays in it. I just decided to take that money and put it elsewhere. AbbVie is another one that I sold out of earlier. Again, I like AbbVie. I think they're going to be fine long term. But for me, they were just the pharmaceutical plays, not a thing that I like to have in my portfolio. You never know what's going on in their pipeline. And I think that they're going to be fine, but I just decided to get rid of them. But they're going to be having their earnings on Friday before open as well. And so there it is. A lot of stuff going on this week. Again, huge earnings, FOMC meeting. I'll be doing that live stream on Wednesday for Tesla's earnings. I'm going to be putting out a video tomorrow as well when it comes to all the questions from the SAY questionnaire that we could be hearing on the earnings call. And I'll give my input and feedback as to what I think that the answers could potentially be and what we will hear from them. So that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great one.